I'm Mark Skay from the Holden Racing team, and welcome to the reveal of the all-new E Series range from Holden Special Vehicles. We're at Holden's Lang Lang Proving Ground, and behind me is the all-new GTS, the European-style Senator, and our favourite and best-selling Club Sport R8. The car is the first platform change for 9 years for Holden, and under that scenario we've also been able to offer the biggest differentiation we've ever been able to boast from Holden's product in a traditional sense. The styling changes from the front fascia, all new wheel, biggest brake package, and a big difference between our European sophisticated look from Senator to our core race-bred GTS and R8.
Stylistically, with this car, what we've tried to do is redefine the look of the modern V8 Australian muscle car. We have a car with a very strong dynamic feature line running down the side, and the whole graphic of this car, with its incredibly strong proportion, short front overhang, long rear, and very wide stance, is very aggressive. And everything we've tried to do with the HSV has been an attempt to really emphasise this and to really milk the most out of it as a design.
The E Series LS2 engine is basically the same core engine as the Z Series LS2. However, we have tweaked the exhaust system and the calibration to get a little bit more power out of this engine. We now have 307 kilowatts at 6,000 RPM and 550 newton metres of torque at 4,400 RPM. This has been achieved mainly by the inclusion of stainless steel tubular headers, which we didn't have at VZ. We've now reintroduced them for E Series. The E Series headers are a specific design. They're not like anything we've done before because we needed to have the catalytic converter close to the exhaust valve so that we could comply with the ADR regulations. Noise drive-by was an important regulation for us to comply with as well. Even though the regulation says that the outside noise needs to be half what it was at Z Series, we have managed to have an extremely pleasant and audible inside V8 note that I think all of our customers will be very pleased with.
The core architecture of this car is the biggest change we've ever seen. Based on this Club Sport R8, it's a new colour in Evoque. As I said about the European styling of the sophisticated Senator, this is a new colour in Red Passion. And one of the biggest changes in terms of the overall drive sensation is that there is an ability in an engineering sense for us to work very closely with Holden from the day we started this project. When we get in the car in a second and go for a drive, we'll pick up on so many of these design features and what that does in a dynamic sense for the driver.
We have a new manual transmission. This transmission is similar to the one we had in Z Series, which is an M12. We now use the M10 version of the Trimac 6-speed manual transmission. First gear ratio is slightly lower. There is a new remote control shifter which gives a much lighter and more positive feel to the manual transmission. And with the manual car, this is integrated with the new final drive ratio of 3.7, thus lowering the gearing slightly. Tyre diameter is a little bit more, so the gearing hasn't been lowered totally. However, we have got slightly lower gearing to give better response, and that matched with the better shift ratios and the better shift feel, we feel the manual transmission is a much better package. The 6-speed automatic transmission is a very big new thing for HSV for E Series. This is the 6L80E turbo-hydromatic automatic transmission. It is currently used in the Chevrolet Corvette. We are using the same basic transmission. It has all the latest features that you'd expect with a totally new state-of-the-art automatic transmission. Perhaps the biggest thing from our customer's point of view is the select shift system that we have, where you can manually shift gears using the main gear shifter. The automatic transmission also has a sport mode and it has adaptive shift as well. We have combined this with a specific for HSV axle ratio of 3.27 to 1 to give extremely good throttle response and acceleration.
The all-new 6-speed automatic transmission with sequential shift, and because the gearing is much closer, the effective 0 to 100 and standing quarter times are actually slightly faster than our previous models. The engine upgrade is 10 kilowatts better with better exhaust, and in terms of drivability, all the nice things that we've built into the engine package over the years, now with the new automatic transmission, from a driver's perspective, certainly feels nicer and more integrated in the way that you can drive the car away from a standing start, and because of the gearing, any of those country road changes that you want to actually make a small change to the throttle to change the way the car steers, or to make a change in terms of overtaking, the car responds much better.
The MRC suspension is a big thing for HSV. This is virtually a world first for a sedan car. It is a new principle in suspension. It uses magnetorheological principle, which sounds very high-tech, but it's quite simple in actual fact. It uses a specific type of silicon-based shock absorber fluid. There are metal spheres that range between 3 and 10 microns. We put a magnetic charge across these spheres, which aligns them in a particular direction, which then makes the suspension either soft or firm, depending on how much charge you put across the spheres. This gives you almost an infinite amount of adjustability in the suspension. We have a very specific program that's been put together for us that runs this suspension, and it is probably the standout feature for the E Series, particularly considering we are one of the world's first to use it. The suspension is standard in GTS and Senator, and I think you really need to experience it to believe just how good it is.
It's much more of a sort of a race-bred, twin double A-arm style rear suspension that we've been able to uniquely change some of those specifications ourselves to get that level of flow and, for a bigger car, level of agility and flexibility that you'd expect from HSV.
The 20-inch wheel really is a first for us on HSV. 20 inch is very much a leading edge of car design at the moment, and very much at the forefront of where wheel design is. With our VE wheel, what we've got is reverse section, which means that we have this secondary facet and the inside of the wheel face, and that really does emphasise the rear-wheel drive nature of this car, because on E Series for HSV we have a unique width of tyre front and rear. This is a 245 at the front, 275 at the rear, and this offset at the rear, if you'll notice, is greater, so we actually emphasise the difference in the two rim widths, and a deliberately open design so we can expose the unique HSV design calipers that you see here. So if you notice the rear rim, we've actually got a 15mm deeper offset on the rear and slightly more section to the spokes as well, because we've taken advantage of the different packaging for the 275 rear tyre.
All of our cars have an 8-inch wide front wheel and a 9.5-inch wide rear wheel, because the architecture at the back of the car allows us to do that this time. This means that we have a 275 size rear tyre on all models. The Club Sport and Senator have 19-inch wheels, and the GTS gets the big 20-inch wheel. All of our tyres in these models are Bridgestone tyres. We have a Bridgestone RE050 19 and 20. The 20 is a specific tyre for HSV, as is the 19, but the 20-inch tyre is a very high-performance tyre that gives absolutely world-class sports performance.
One of the great things about the engineering of this car is that we've been able to design in a bigger rear wheel. So we've got an 8-inch front wheel with 20-inch diameter, 8-inch wide at the front, 9.5-inch wide at the back, fitted with a 275 wide RE050 Bridgestone, specifically designed for the car, that gives it better exit drive coming off the corner in terms of traction, but also better in terms of its lateral grip mid-corner.
With E Series, we have one brake package that covers all of our models. Front brake diameter is 365mm, the rear brake diameter is 350mm. This brake package is as good as anything in the world, available on any car. We are very proud that we have this available on all of our models. Bosch have claimed that the braking performance of our cars is as good as anything that they've ever tested. A lot of it to do with the effect of the MRC suspension controlling the ride height of the car. So we are very proud to be able to talk about this brake system, and it is second to none.
What we've got at the front end is this HSV twin nostril upper grille, a very, very aggressive central intake. This lower intake features brake cooling ducts at the outside, which actually borrow from the HRT race car, as there's always been this historical connection between HSV and HRT. And then again, the fog and driving lamp surrounds the outer corner of the fascia.
The front fender for E Series is unique for HSV. This is a big departure for HSV, as it makes our car appear very different to the Holden version. What we've done with the front fender is we laser cut the standard Holden fender. We have a pressed part that's then spot welded and sealed and adapted to that fender to give us a totally unique styling at the front of the car. We then use our own fender vent, which is fitted to the front fender to give a very aggressive and unique styling feature.
This of course links in with that huge fender vent on the side of the car and gives us a real strong down the road graphic, so instantly from half a mile away you know exactly the car that's coming towards you, and you wouldn't be mistaken for anything else on the road. The biggest design change in HSV's history has to be the rear lamps. With E Series we've taken the opportunity to design our very own rear lamps, and they're something we're particularly proud of. They feature twin intersecting circles of LEDs, and across the middle we have the reflectors. Also, the indicator on the outside is a little honeycomb arrangement of LEDs, again something totally unique for the Australian car market.
The E Series unique LED lights is, like the front fender, a complete styling departure for HSV. We can see this as being a signature for HSV, as our car is unique and can be seen to be an HSV from a very large distance, because the taillights are totally different in their style and in their operation. We use a number of LEDs. The LEDs shine very brightly and very quickly. They shine much more quickly than an incandescent bulb, which is a safety feature as well. The way the LEDs are set up is they shine at a certain intensity for tail lights. However, when you put the brake lights on, a little resistor is bypassed and the LED shines much more brightly. This required a special module for HSV so that the light outage detection feature that's part of the car still works correctly. So there was a fair bit of engineering involved in setting this up.
E Series is going to be one of the fastest cars you can buy on the market, and we felt that we could borrow stuff off mid-engine supercars because this is a very quick car. So what we have at the back end is a twin diffuser look, and also above that we have this moulded mesh that has a very nice fold in it that kind of borrows from something the Lamborghini has on their front end too.
Great news for HSV, the GDS is back and we're on board the GDS around the ride and handling circuit at Lang Lang. The first things for me is, straight away, everything is new inside here. There's not a carryover item. It's a very integrated design in terms of the architecture. Round dials into the round dial, nice finish of how the dash looks, and the way that the car feels in terms of driver comfort and the way that the seat design makes you feel like you're in the car. It's very integral to the car, is very cleverly thought out.
The E-Series interior is an evolutionary change. We've picked up all the features that we liked in previous models and we have developed them further for E-Series. Things like the binnacle is very much a part of the style of the car, the style of the interior. It fits in very nicely and it's totally different to the binnacle that Holden used, which is a nice styling feature that differentiates the HSV from a standard Holden car. The interior trim and seats, HSV seats, are specific for HSV. We've used our experience over our years talking to our customers to work out a seat that we know our customers will like, with the right amount of support, but also not too difficult to get in and to get out of. The colour interior, the coordination of the colour has been very carefully laid out, and I think you'll find that the car looks terrific inside and is very comfortable and user-friendly.
braking package in addition to the MRC, those two things combined make the car another level up from anything that we've ever had before.